before we start talking about constitutional law itself, and that is something I'll be doing in the next video, let me just talk and bounce off some ideas about what you might need to do in order to pass this course, because oftentimes that is something that we don't address. We just, as lecturers, for example, we may end up starting to talk about the course without addressing the skills, the attitudes, and the things we need to do to prepare ourselves and to put in the effort in order to pass this course. So that's what I'm doing with these first two sets of videos. And I'd like to begin by saying that in line with the past statistics we have of a very high attrition rate, the bad news really is that you're not going to be able to pass this course if you don't put in the effort. Now, I am not saying that you'll probably require 20 hours of study time and preparation time for this course alone. Certainly not. Certainly not. But I will tell you, you will actually need a minimum of 7 hours of study and preparation time in order to be able to pass this course. Now, how do we look at the kind of activities you need to do each week? And these are things you need to do consistently. It's not something that you just do and try to cram towards maybe the end of the 5th week when the legal memorandum assessment, for example, is due. I would say you need 7 hours for the following reasons. First, you will need to, if you want to pass this course, you need to be able to read each week's assigned chapters or assigned chapter, which is just about 30 to 40 pages. Not a lot, really. And I would assume that you'll probably require at least 3 hours of reading time. And then I would encourage you to watch the video lectures that I have prepared, because the advantage of watching or viewing those video lectures is that my job will be to focus on key areas of constitutional law, whether case law or legal principles, and try to find ways by which we could look at the significance of such legal principles or case law and try to link them to other areas of constitutional law, so we end up with a better understanding of why these legal principles or case law might be important. So that's going to be my job, focus on the key principles and case law, and to help you better understand these principles, which often are quite complex. So I would encourage you to view the video lectures. And remember, viewing the video lectures also means that you will likely be able to do the activities in Moodle, which is part of the group online discussion, where you could earn 10% of the marks. So aside from reading each week's lecture for about 3 hours, and then viewing the video lecture for about an hour, I would encourage you to also join each week's Modal session, which would be an hour, and we do the Modal session, not the Modal session rather, we do our Blackboard Collaborate session each week on Wednesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. So you do 1 hour there, and then I would strongly encourage you to work on your assessments. Spend at least 2 hours a week. Now, the danger with trying to work in big blocks of, I'll do this in a single day, I'll spend 12 hours, is that chances are you're going to be unlikely, it's unlikely for you to actually be able to do it. I would strongly suggest that you just learn to spread your work across the week. Spend 2 hours here, 2 hours there during the working day. Even if you have family commitments, even if you happen to have work commitments, and assuming that many of you happen to be working or might be loaded with family commitments, just plug in the hours, read your textbooks, do the Moodle activities, view the video lectures, and then work on assignments, spend time. Be consistent. And make sure not to drop off the radar. It's important that you continue to engage with me, engage with the rest of the class, whether through emails or through Moodle, because the moment you kind of, just dissociate yourself from the rest of us, there will be a good chance that you would lose the motivation to finish this course. And, I would find that unfortunate. Now, going back again to that idea about, a lot of students struggling and probably dropping out of the course, it gives me back, it makes me think again about what John Biggs, one of the strong educators, talked about. And he was saying that there are 3 ways of looking at student success. One is that student success is often tied with the abilities of students, about their cognitive skills, about their attitudes, and about what they do. That's one. And so therefore, if a student fails, it's because they don't have the competencies and skills that are necessary to pass the course. So that's one. I don't really adhere to that in full. Secondly, He's also saying that some would view success among students to be tied up with the ability of teachers, the ability to teach, the ability to engage with students, and the ability of teachers to make a course, for example, interesting. So that if students fail, it's the fault of the teacher. That's probably true, but not very likely. I mean, not in this case, I would argue, and I would hope. Thirdly, he's saying that success of students is all about the kind of learning activities that a teacher designs. And I tend to believe in that, and that's the reason why, in kind of flipping the classroom, what I've done is that if we have our Moodle sessions, I mean, if we have our Blackboard Collaborate sessions, you're not going to listen to another lecture because you would have watched my lectures in advance. But we're going to use the Blackboard Collaborate sessions to dig deeper into the important concepts of constitutional law so that concepts become more meaningful to you, and you're able to connect these concepts with what you probably know and probably link them with other things that you know as far as law is concerned. And so, but to me, student success is not about 1, 2, 3. It's actually a combination of those three. And so in other words, for you to pass, I would argue that you need the basic skills, and I would argue you have those. You're now in your second year, so I could safely say that, you know, as far as intelligence goes, you have it. And I'm more than sure that you could put in the effort if you wanted to. Secondly, I would assume that I've got the basic skills to teach you and the knowledge as well. So that should be good. And I will be designing the learning skills to make learning more active. So by using, you know, having this kind of combination, I would strongly argue that you will have a good chance of passing this course only on the condition that you have to be committed to put in the hours and to be consistent in, you know, putting in the effort to pass this course. There was one other thing that I wanted to point out, and that is my desire to actually engage with you throughout the course, not just by, you know, becoming your teacher and lecturing you about constitutional law, but being some kind of a mentor to you, so that if I see that some of you are not engaging with the course, whether through in Moodle or you have not been able to watch the videos, I'm actually able to know that because there is a program at CQ Uni which allows that, then I will be getting in touch with you. I'll probably hound you and send you emails to find out, you know, what's going on, to remind you to do what needs to be done. So I hope you don't take it against me if I do that, because to an extent I will be kind of your champion. I will be part of your cheering squad who will try to motivate you to get to pass this course. However, that kind of, you know, that kind of function or that kind of role is limited, because at the point that I become your assessor, at the point that I look at your legal memorandum or your digital flashcards, or I mark your final exams, then I will necessarily have to be objective. But prior to, you know, undertaking that role of being an assessor, my job will be kind of, you know, as a friendly way, will be to remind you always to get it done. So I hope you don't take it against me. So best of luck, and let's start talking about constitutional law.